Just very briefly, if you would, Jonathan, this meeting that took place in Oxfordshire, even allowing for the fact that the likes of Michael Gove were there, I think Michael Howard popped his head around the door for half an hour as well. Do you sense this was a bit of a plot to rejoin the EU, the first steps, if you like?
Don't be silly, of course not.
Peter Mandelson was there, for goodness sake. Mandelson was there. Mandelson, if you cut Mandelson in half, it says Brussels.
Don't be ridiculous. Michael Gove and Michael Howard were there, arch-Brexiters. Listen, the Labour Party, the stupidest thing the Labour Party could do in the next 2 or 3 years is talk about the EU, other than what they've already promised about veterinary agreements, closer cooperation on certain factors outside the single market and customs union. Because the one thing the Tories would love more than anything is for Labour to start talking about the single market and customs union, etc., because then it would galvanise the Tory party and energise the Tory vote. Labour is not going to do that. We are not rejoining the EU anytime soon.
I've never spoken to a Brexit supporter who didn't acknowledge that there might be a few rocks in the road as we proceed in those initial years through trying to redefine trading agreements and laws and regulations, etc. I think everybody actually knows that, and I think most people will take that on the chin for the autonomy and the self-regulation that leaving the EU has allowed this country to move towards. And I come back to that phrase, I use it like a stuck record. It's not a law of physics. And the mere idea that you can't function in any kind of way unless you're in the EU, it's such, you wouldn't teach a 6-year-old this kind of stuff. It's just anti-intellectual mumbo-jumbo put around by people who are wetting the bed because we've left a union that actually made them feel as if they were nicer people because they were part of their European brothers and sisters holding hands like we're one, like big old 1970s Coca-Cola commercials. That's what that was about. The establishment loved all of that, the Macrons, the Trudeaus and all that kind of internationalist approach to things. And it's rained on their parade, and they don't much like it. And this idea that Jonathan Lis said, well, look at the statistics, our GDP isn't functioning as... Come to me at the end of the year, and I tell you what, all of those stats will be turned upside down, the whole thing will look completely different, and there'll be a different set of economic stats to look at. It's a merry-go-round, economically speaking, and there'll be winners and losers and peaks and troughs at different times. The idea that this is the end of times for the UK is a nonsense, but what were they doing at the flipping meeting?